Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. I shared a story on belonging, and I got a question, a query of what does that feel like? Maybe I'm not sure of what that feels like. And I responded that I typically don't do requests, but this feels like a Holy Spirit moment. Sure enough, this morning I'm in my prayer, and that's what came up. What does it feel like to belong? Um, Years ago now, I had been invited for years and years and years, for about 5 years. There's a woman named Celia every time she saw me, and she invited me to come to Christ Church Episcopal. I didn't want to have anything to do with church. I was done with church. I'd spent my life in church, and there were some wounds that went deep, and I didn't want to deal with that anymore. So I communed with God on my own, and I just had walked away. She kept inviting me. And finally, I relented and said I would go. And I had been to an Episcopal church. I'd been to an Episcopal church service. I'd spoken at an Episcopal church. That was in Delaware, and these were wonderful, weird people at Sam's in Delaware, where a black congregation and a white congregation had joined, and they had become something amazing. And I was like, that's not what this is. This is just church, and I'm done with church. And so I go into this church. Now, I didn't know the difference between the Red Book of Common Prayer and the Blue Hymnal. I didn't know anybody there. Most of the people there were white, from what I could see. It was high service. There was all this stuff, and the church was the oldest church in Georgia, and it was historical, and it was amazing. And there was something that just clicked. I felt like I was seen, known, and that I belonged in that communion of saints that went back generations. I can't even express it. Deacon Patty, who is now my deacon mentor, was giving the homily that day, that year, that particular day that I was there. She gave the sermon, and it was as if she had been following me around the day before, and she was preaching my experience. And I was like, this is how, what is she, what? How does she know? It was so amazing. And then people were so warm and so loving and so kind. And they were like, Celia said you were coming. And I was like, I told Celia I might come. She's like, no, we knew you were coming. And it was this thing of like a dream. Like they were ready and waiting, had always been waiting for me. And I remember telling a friend, I've got to go back because I don't know what just happened. And after I got to know people, it was like you would peel back a layer and there was another person. You're talking to someone who's this finance banker, and you peel back a layer, and his father was a jazz musician, and he's like a jazz head, and we're standing there talking Ron Carter and, and like what? Or you go to a place and you say, I'm at such and such, and they say, oh, make sure you go check out so and so. It's like, how are these people so connected to me? And it just doesn't look like it. I think that very often we've been trying to belong to people who we think look like, sound like, do like, we have the same things in common, we know the same stuff, we da 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 da. Oh, these are my people. When really belonging is so much deeper. I recently connected with a sister who I hadn't known, and there is like no space between our friendship. It's like where have you been? How? I'm talking about that deep, deep belonging where you are known. And I understand, I think with Sam's question, maybe I don't know what that feels like. Maybe I've never really experienced it. And when you truly experience it, you don't want to let it go. But more importantly, when you truly experience it, you move beyond the cliques, the groupings, the stratification. You want everyone to feel this sense of knowing like you know it. Sometimes to your own detriment, because you want to bring everyone in and you want everybody else to belong and come on and come on. And you have to be careful with that. But when you know that deep belonging, where you are known and you are seen and you belong and you are part of, you never want to leave anyone out. It's why I get up every morning. It's why when I'm traveling and my schedule is a little crazy and I go, I haven't shared a story. Because in these stories, you will find your own. And before you can belong to anyone else, you have to know that you always have belonged, that you are seen, that you are known, that you are loved. And if I don't leave anything else on this planet, growing up like I didn't belong, I want everybody to know the wealth of knowledge when you know yourself. I love you.